What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 58 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. As always, my name is Dave Knittel, and I'm here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, say hello.
Hello.
All right, hello. Matt, say hello.
Hello.
All right, Matt's doing other
Are
things.
you not using your microphone today?
Can't see his face. Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm using the microphone on my webcam. Does it sound worse?
Well, you look all like choppy, and it sounds different, but yeah, you're fine.
I look choppy?
Yeah, like it's really delayed when you move.
You don't really look put together.
Yeah.
Okay.
You look like your hair is all chopped up.
Yeah. Okay. I look pixelated. All right. Matt, you good to go?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Let's jump right into Christian, before I forget, do you have a trivia question?
I do. I may have asked this one already, so now I'm thinking, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All right. Let's get into things here. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 58 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. As always, my name is Dave Knittel, and I'm here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, how you doing today?
I'm glad your name is always Dave, because it'd be really confusing if it changed every week.
Yeah, sometimes it's David, though, so I can get you there.
Well, yeah, like that guy who called you David the other day, and I was like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing that?
That's weird. Yeah. Our cousin?
But I'm good.
By that guy, you mean our cousin?
That guy.
Okay, our 11-year-old cousin.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, but I'm good. Thanks for asking.
That's good. All right, you're looking good. Looks like you got a haircut.
Yeah, I'm looking fresh and clean over here.
So fresh and so clean. Matt, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Dave. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Oh, wow. Thank you for asking.
Why did you do that?
I just really appreciate that you care about me enough to ask. I'm doing well. So on my flight back from Philly to San Francisco, the dude sitting across from me on the aisle was watching the movie It. And so I'm not a guy who likes scary movies, and even watching that on mute and looking away as much as possible still freaked me the hell out. So that's been sort of messing with my sleep schedule and been having nightmares. But beyond that, I'm doing fairly well, thanks.
Yeah, to be fair, I remember when those commercials were on, I couldn't sleep at night, so I get that.
Yeah, thank you. Christian, do you have our
trivia?
It was freaky. Christian, do you have our trivia question for this week?
All right, so I'm not sure if I asked this question in the past, so I'm going to vary it up a little bit. So this week we had Ragnar Klavan became a goal scorer for his country, Estonia, in the Premier League. Do you know how many countries have been represented by goals? I may have asked this question before.
I think you may have, but I don't remember
I'm going to change it up, though. So can you name the top scoring country from each continent in the Premier League?
Okay. We'll think on that, listeners.
And with Europe, England is obviously the top. We're going to go to the next one after.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we'll think on that. Real quick, Matt, is there a reason we can't see you? Like, why are you not on your webcam?
I was finishing up all our stories.
Okay. All right. It's all right. Just for the YouTube. It looked, there he is. Look, there's that pretty face. All right.
Put it away.
Christian, thank you for that trivia question. Before we get into our topics real quick, I wanted to give a plug for Fan Futsal. So I am the founder of Fan Futsal, which is a simplified fantasy soccer website. We have you select 5 clubs instead of a bunch of individual players for your fantasy lineups. And the only scoring elements are goals scored, goals conceded, and the result of the match. So you only need to follow match scores. We simplify things, but we still have you select formations and positions. So you get that strategy you get the strategic elements from fantasy soccer, but it's simplified and a lot easier for everyone to play. So if you're listening to this, I have a feeling you like soccer, so you would like Fan Futsal. Also wanted to give a quick plug for anyone listening to the podcast. We also do a YouTube recording of this live, so definitely feel free to check that out. You can message us while we're recording if you want to interact with us, send comments and all that. We would love to have you on there. So it's just on the Fan Futsal YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search Fan Futsal, and that is it. With that, let's get into our topics here. First topic in our first segment, I want to talk about Paul Pogba and his moniker as the transfer whisperer, which I have coined. But Christian, we were talking about this over the break in how Pogba was instrumental in recruiting Lukaku to Man United. Now he's rumored to be helping with Dybala and possibly Griezmann. What's your take on Pogba being the recruiting agent?
So what was that French striker's name again that you just pronounced?
Griezmann?
Is that how it's pronounced?
That's how I pronounce it.
Is it not Griezmann?
I think it's Griezmann. Whatever. You know who I'm talking
about.
Okay.
Well, okay. No, I'm not sure. Can you clarify? What team does he play for? Okay, so Pogba is it seems like he is his own little celebrity over there and wants to be involved in everything. He seems to be doing a good job of it, so good on United for using him in that way. But it's interesting to watch him be instrumental in stuff outside of the field. He's talking up Lukaku. Lukaku looked like he was going to Chelsea. All of a sudden, they start hanging out, and boom, Lukaku's at United. Like last second, everyone expected him at Chelsea. The Chelsea were posting videos of, oh, welcome back, and then just were shell-shocked. But Dybala is one of his former teammates, so I understand why he's involved in that one. Dybala is a ridiculous talent, so if Man United get him, I'm going to be very sad because I do not want to see that happen. But Pogba is a very good player, and he's using his name and the stage that he's built for himself to attract other big players, and United are doing a good job of using him in that role.
Sure, fair enough. Matt, what's your take on Pogba and his business kind of in the transfer market?
All right, well, I don't know how much it necessarily is him, just him. I mean, obviously, if other players get along with him well, then they're going to want to go there. But I think this is just a normal thing for all sports, all team sports. You want to go, Carson Wentz got Alshon Jeffrey to Philly, but it's not it was just because of Carson Wentz. It's because we have a good team. Basketball, LeBron James is considered the best recruiter. I can think of this in all team sports. Even in soccer, if you're going to Barcelona, you go there for Messi. You're not going there to play with just because it's Barcelona. You're going there now to play for with Messi and have the potential to win because he's their main guy. I think the best players have a little bit to do with it, but I don't think Pogba is the main guy or the main reason people are going. Because his agent work is the reason why these people are going to United. I think this is just a normal thing. The players want to play with other players. I just think it's not really necessarily him being, different than any other big athlete.
Exactly. I think that this is just the way modern sports works, especially in the social media age. These guys are all friends. They hang out. Lukaku and Pogba for the past few summers have been hanging out. And, when you see it, like you brought up the NBA, you're constantly hearing guys recruiting, them when they're free agents and whatnot. So I think this is just the way sports work these days. As weird as it is sometimes to see, but I think this is just the way modern sports kind of works. Christian, anything else you want to add? Nope. All right, let's talk about Goretzka to FC Bayern. So, we had been discussing this when I was home again, Matt and Christian. Goretzka was rumored to possibly be going to Liverpool. Didn't end up working out. He's a really talented player for FC Schalke right now, and he's in the last 6 months of his contract, which means he can sign with any team he would like. He has chosen to sign for FC Bayern. Matt, what's your take on yet another of the most promising German players deciding to join Bayern?
Yeah, unfortunately, most of my knowledge of Goretzka comes from FIFA. I've only seen him play live maybe 3 times, and all 3 times he's been really good. I don't know how consistent he is because Bayern, you have to be good every single time, every single game. Those players are expected to be great. But everything I hear about him is great. I'm glad he's not going to Liverpool or Arsenal because the times I have seen him play, I can see him being, an important role in the German national team. And we all know how hard that is to get into. And he was, just turning 23 or not even 23 yet?
I believe he's 22 right now.
Yeah, he's about to turn 23 before next season. So, he's only going to get better probably, well, barring injury, but he's probably only going to get better. And I think it's good for the Premier League, good for my Premier League perspective that he's not there. But and also just Bayern getting all the German players it's just not for the German league players. It's just kind of like upsetting to see.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I find it slightly boring. But Christian, what's your take on Goretzka going to Bayern?
Well, Matt's Premier League is not my Premier League, so I don't know what he's talking about over there. I think that Goretzka is a really, really, really talented player, and honestly, over the years, you see German players come to the Premier League, and not many of them make it that big. It doesn't seem to happen that often, but when it does happen, I feel like those players kind of die out a little bit more than they are in the Bundesliga. Bundesliga just gives them a better chance, I feel like, the way that the Premier League gives English players a better chance. And I know Ozil is Arsenal. Mertezakker's been at Arsenal for a while as well, but he kind of really fell off the BFG
What
over
about
there.
what about like Tony Cruz?
Tony Kroos is not in the Premier League.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were just saying like in Germany specifically.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
I
I didn't
have
know
heard
where you were going with
rumors that Tony Kroos is going to United, which would also make me want to cry. But I think that the Germans just aren't. It's surprising because they are built for the Premier League game. I think the Bundesliga and the Premier League are the most similar of the major European leagues, and it's just surprising that it doesn't always translate that way. But I think it makes sense for him to stay in Germany where he can kind of make a bigger name for himself than he would in the Premier League. And at Bayern, that's where most of the best German players go. You get to play together before World Cups, before European Cups. You kind of build that chemistry. And I think that's going to only better his chances of making it big at the international level as well.
Agreed. So I think I was disappointed being a Liverpool fan. And for those who may not know, Matt's a Man City fan, which is where his comment came from before about the Premier League. But, I was disappointed because I think he would fit in exceptionally well at Liverpool or in the Premier League. And like I said, I just find it boring that Bayern ends up attracting all of the best players from whether it's Schalke or Dortmund or Werder or Wolfsburg or whoever. In the Bundesliga, it seems like every year the best players after a year or two end up on Bayern. So I find it boring from that perspective, but I understand it. It probably is the best decision for his career. Matt, anything else you wanted to add?
Oh yeah, and so like with RB Leipzig, with all the money they're getting, are they going to be able to like? I know they just lost Keita, who's going to be, who's one of their best players. But like, do you think they have a chance of even like rivaling what? Christian, you're
They don't have
rubbing
the
your mic a little
prestige,
bit.
but they have. Sorry, did I do
You're
something?
rubbing.
Yeah,
You're
right.
rubbing your mic a little bit.
I'm like
Driving
not
James
even
crazy.
close to it. I don't understand.
Okay, yeah, but okay.
This is why I don't like wearing headphones. I'm telling you, I have to move.
Get a
I
mic.
can't.
Get a mic. I literally
Christmas
like
just passed. You could
$15.
have bought me a mic.
It is
You could have bought me a
$15.
mic.
Get a mic
Well, it
or
looks
just
like you
hold
missed your Christmas present
hold
opportunity
the
there.
mic out a little bit. Just hold the mic out a little bit so that it's not rubbing against your face or your shirt.
Have I been fine?
No, you've been absolutely fine, man.
Okay.
That's great, Christian. Thank you. All right, we've gotten very sidetracked at this point. Matt, I'm sorry. Continue.
All right, should we
Continue?
just lead into it? Should we just try to restart from the beginning?
Yeah, I'll cut this. Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, it's gotta make it into the cut.
Okay. So any other thoughts? Okay. Yeah. So I want to see how RB Leipzig are able to hold on to their players with all the money they have now. See if they can rival, Bayern in the Bundesliga, because I know they're losing Keita, but like hopefully they can hang on to somebody like Timo Werner, who's a German player who's kind of been lighting up he's a young German player lighting up the Bundesliga. Hope they can hold on to players like him and, just like keep a solid team together and keep adding on to it.
Christian, you had some thoughts on what Matt was saying?
Yeah, I think that Naby Keita is going to be a really, really good player, and I know I'm a Liverpool fan, so I'm excited about that. But he is a real talent in the Bundesliga, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does. But I'm sorry, I'm going to answer your Red Bull point first. Timo Werner is a really, really exciting talent, and I love him as a striker. I think he's extremely clinical and quick and would be explosive in almost any system he would go into. And I would be shocked if Bayern aren't coming for him next to Bayern just seem to collapse on all the best German talent, and it makes sense. They're the biggest German club, but eventually Lewandowski is going to wear out, and he's much older, obviously, and I think Werner is going to get pulled in. But Red Bull Leipzig isn't going to be able to compete just because they don't have that prestige with them. They have the money right now, maybe. They still don't have Bayern's money, I'm sure, even though Red Bull owns them. They're losing that prestige, and I don't know if they're ever going to be able to catch up to Bayern in that department. So players, though they might be offered loads and loads of money, which we saw with Manchester City competing with Man United, I just don't think that they're going to have what it takes to compete at that level.
But that's a bad example because City is competing and beating.
But also, the Premier League is the most watched, and it has all the prestige on its own without the team specifically.
Prestige worldwide.
Prestige worldwide.
Wide.
It is. So I do agree with you. I think the prestige element is what's going to keep Bayern the dominant side there. But Matt does bring up a good point. I mean, Leipzig is following the Man City model. Leipzig has a bunch of satellite clubs all around the world. And right now, Leipzig is the top of that, satellite pyramid. That's the highest level. There's rumors that, Red Bull is trying to get into English Premier League, possibly Leeds at one time. And, they're constantly looking for that. But at this point, Leipzig is at the top of that model. And, they're going to attract players, but I don't think that they'll be able to compete like Bayern the way City is able to compete with United and all the other big players there. Christian, I know you're running late on time, so I want to keep this thing moving right along here. Let's talk real quick about some bad tackles that have been happening against Matt's Manchester City squad over the last few weeks. So in the Tottenham match, both Kane and Dele Alli both saw yellows for what likely should have been a red card. Then Murphy, I think his name's Jacob Murphy from Newcastle, had a really bad tackle on a City player, not red carded. I don't even know if he was yellow carded. And then Jason Punchin in the Crystal Palace match had a ridiculous tackle on De Bruyne that I don't even know if it was yellow carded. It looked like it could have seriously injured De Bruyne. Thankfully, he was okay. Christian, what is your take on all of these really bad tackles not going punished the way that they should be?
Well, first of all, I didn't know Matt was managing the team. They're going against Matt's team over there. So I just think this happens in the game, and it's awful. Teams should be punished for making these tackles, and I'm surprised there hasn't been retroactive just punishment given out to a lot of these teams. There's been a lot of horrible tackles. I have not actually watched that their last game against they played Crystal Palace, right? That's where the two tackles against Jesus and De Bruyne happened. I don't actually know what happened with Jesus.
It was on his own. He just buckled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad tackle.
But I've heard about the De Bruyne one, and I have been watching a lot of the City games, and it just happens with frustration in games where you don't have any of the ball, and that's Pep's system. It drives teams crazy, and unless you have that discipline to really go the whole 90 minutes of defending and counterattacking, teams lose their cool when they're down and can't get the ball, and they'll come in hard. It is part of the game, although it should not really be. I don't love the fact that happens. It is something that you expect being on Man City, and the referees just need to be a little bit more aware, in my opinion.
So it is a product of the system. Matt, what's your take, being a Man City fan, on all these tackles?
I don't think too many are just the Tottenham game. That was a bit absurd, especially because Tottenham's such a big club and they're not used to that was pretty embarrassing for them, and they're just not used to that. And especially going against Real, they were kind of going toe to toe with Real Madrid and Dortmund in the Champions League, and then they just get embarrassed by City, and I just think it was something they weren't used to. But I think bad challenges happen in soccer. Bad challenges. I don't. The red cards, maybe the refs, because City are so dominant, they're a little hesitant to give red cards because maybe they know the game's going to be over if a team goes down to 10 men against this team that the way they're playing. Maybe that's a thing. But
Liverpool.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's necessarily teams are targeting to hurt Man City players, but there have been bad tackles. But I think there's bad tackles in a lot of games.
Agreed. It's just more product of both the system and just the situation of, how City plays and the position that they're in. Christian, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
All right, let's go to a little bit of music, and we'll be right back with our second segment. Talk to you soon. All right, we good to keep this thing rolling?
Yeah, that was long.
I know, that was long. Matt, you good?
Yeah.
Welcome back, listeners, to our second segment, jumping into things right away here. An Australian tourist happened to be wandering around in Scotland trying to get to Edinburgh Castle recently and ended up getting swept into the away fans of Kilmarnock, a team in Scotland, and ended up attending the match, sat with the supporters, they chanted for him, and it was just an incredible experience for this guy. Matt, what is your take on hearing this story and, just soccer culture and whatnot?
Well, one, I hope he eventually got to see Edinburgh, but I think this is a great story for soccer. I mean, it's good to see that the excitement of a fan and getting to experience the culture of the Scottish soccer game. So I think it's awesome for the fan. It's great for the culture. I mean, he got to experience something he had no idea what was going to happen. I think it's a great day for him.
Good. Yeah. Christian, what is your take on it?
I think I think that it's really cool. He went into that day having no idea that he was going to be experiencing anything like that, and it's really unique because no matter where you go in the world, the soccer community seems to be coming together. And it's really just a fun atmosphere no matter where you are, and especially in well, not anywhere, but
Yeah,
in a lot of
not
places.
anywhere.
And but in Britain and anywhere in like Western Europe, you'd say it is a big deal to go to any game, and that's really cool that he kind of got dragged into an away fan section, especially because we saw away fans when we were in England. They're nuts. They really go crazy over there, and sometimes they're even louder than the home fans, which is amazing to see. I remember at the Man City Wigan game, those Wigan fans were insane and did not stop making noise the entire game. And they dragged their team to a win in the FA Cup at the Etihad, which I'm sure Matt remembers fondly. But to be fair, it's not much to say that Wigan fans are louder than Man City fans. But it's really a unique experience for this guy to get to go to a game, an away game with fans kind of just welcoming in, no matter they don't know him at all. Then they just welcome him right in.
Yeah, it's awesome. I always love hearing stories like this. And I know when I was traveling Europe after school, Australian people were awesome, and they just kind of roll with the flow. So I think it also was helpful that this dude was Australian and could just sort of roll with things. So, but it's just an awesome story all around. Matt, anything else you want to add?
No.
All right, let's talk about Portugal now. And FC Porto is instituting a new thing in their stadiums that is offering fans food and drink delivery directly to their seats. Christian, what is your take on basically in-stadium delivery?
This just reminds me of those movie theaters that you now have. What are they called?
Yeah, movie tavern.
Movie taverns. That's what they're called.
Awesome.
Where you get to have a waiter come up to you and take your order. You just press a button and they come right to you. It's a really good idea from a business standpoint. I just don't know how it would work in a stadium type event. It seems like it would be a little more. It depends, I guess, where you are in the stadium too. I feel like in a supporter section, it would be tough to get food.
They have vendors walking around with cotton candy and all that stuff.
I know, but I still feel like that's a little bit different. I don't know what exactly types of food that they're going to be doing, but it is a good business idea, in my opinion. I just don't think that practically it's going to work out in the long run. I don't know. I don't know. It's a really interesting idea, and I don't know how it's going to work out, and I'm very excited to see how it does.
Fair enough, Matt. What's your take on in-stadium delivery?
Where is this taking place?
Porto, FC Porto.
Porto?
Oh, just okay. So I think it's a great idea. I mean, that way you don't have to get up. You don't have to miss any action in the match, which is kind of annoying because at halftime, you go to get your concessions and it just takes forever. And then you might not be there for the beginning of the next half. Like it could literally be a 15-minute process, just getting a hot dog. So I think it's a good idea. You can get food whatever you want. it seems like at first you might say it seems a little lazy, but I think it's a great idea. You get to watch the whole match. I mean, I don't have a problem with it at all. And with the cotton candy thing, like they walk around cotton candy, like I mean, I assume not everyone just wants like a cotton candy, and like whenever they stop. Wait, do they even do that with soccer games? Now that I'm thinking about it.
No. So I was just citing an American example, and I'm not saying the only thing you can get delivered is cotton candy. I was just using that as an example.
Okay, yeah, but I'm saying like you can just order from wherever,
Yes.
so it's awesome.
Basically, yeah, a concession stand. So they would need to have the food in the stadium. You can't just get
Yeah,
it
I
from
get that.
wherever. Okay.
So
But
could you order
I
like
assume
Chick-fil-A
Porto.
to your seat?
No.
Or-
I assume you know how like go to any Philly sports stadium, you have Chickies and Pete's, you have like a bunch of different restaurants like throughout
Yeah.
the whole stadium. It's like Shake Shack and stuff like that. I assume Porto is going to have some, not just generic
Yeah. Well, so
concessions.
yeah, exactly. I think this does a lot of things. So number one, I love it. I hate waiting in lines at the concession stand. But also, what happens at sporting events is the concession stands are just dead while the match is going on, and then when they're at halftime or right before or right after the match, that their lines are out the door, and it's a struggle to get food. So I think what this does is it manages the lines much better. It manages kind of when food is, being cooked and going through the stadium. It manages lines, but also gives them an opportunity to make money like throughout the match. And I know as a supporter, like if I don't have to get up to go get a beer, if I don't have to get up to go get a hot dog, like I would love that. And I would pay an extra dollar or two. So it's going to give them extra money. And I have nothing but good things to say about this. And I don't really have any reservations about the practicality of it. Christian, Matt, anything else you want to say?
So wait, do you have to tip the delivery guy?
That was literally the exact point I was about to make.
I have no idea. Listen, I'm sure they're going to work all of this out. My assumption is that there will just be a set delivery charge, and the guy is just a in-stadium staff person, but I have no idea how it's going to functionally work.
Right.
Does that severely alter how you feel?
Do you not think that it's going to hit a bottleneck at some point where too many people are ordering and it's going to be a huge delay and it'll just make lines, but without you having to stand in a line?
Maybe, but then at least you're sitting there watching the match. Aren't you going to be more likely to be okay with it if you're not standing in a line outside of the match?
Yeah, that's
Boom.
true.
Boom. All right. Last thing we want to talk about in the second segment, Arsene. I wanted to call him Andrew Wenger, and I knew that was wrong. Arsene Wenger.
Andrew Wenger runs out of bounds.
I know he does. That gif will never get old. Arsene Wenger set the Premier League managerial record over, I think it was this weekend, passing Sir Alex Ferguson. I believe it was 811 matches he has now managed in the English Premier League. Matt, what is your take on Arsenal Wenger? I'm using what is your take for every single question.
Arsenal Wenger.
Arsenal Wenger. All right, Matt, what do you think about Wenger and his record?
No, I mean, he's been there. I mean, I obviously don't think he's better than Sir Alex Ferguson because of all the titles he won, but I think he's up there as one of the best Premier League managers ever. I don't think there's really room to contest that at this point. He has so many wins. He's got some trophies. I know he went through a little lull there of going trophyless, but I think he's one of the best managers in the world in Premier League history. I mean, I don't know what else Arsenal would want other than maybe a little bit more Champions League success, but they're a top club almost every year.
Christian, what do you think about Wenger getting this record?
That's a very positive way to put little lull of 8 or 9 years, whatever it was when they won. But he has rebounded, and he won, what, was it 2 or 3 FA Cups in a row?
I think 2.
Okay. Well, he made his team a little bit more competitive. They seem to always fall off at the end of the season still. And last year was a nightmare, and this year is not going much better because it looks like half of their team doesn't want to be there. But Arsene Wenger is a world-class manager. There's no doubt about it. He took that team and made them a real powerhouse for 20 years now. And people know Arsenal, and they relate him to it because he's been there for 811, 812 games, whatever it is. He's a really good manager, and he's been able to develop youth. He hasn't been given all the funds that he needed over the past couple years, and that's kind of where he's fallen behind on some of the other big clubs. but he's still able to get his tactics right in a lot of games. And yeah, they kind of struggle against the big teams nowadays. But that's because their team isn't built for that. They seem to be stuck in the past a little bit. And until he changes his tactics slightly, he's never going to catch up to Sir Alex Ferguson, in my opinion. And it's amazing that he got that record, but he's never going to. We all know that.
Nope, and I agree with that. I think he's probably the second best manager in Premier League history just for the longevity and everything he's done, revolutionizing kind of the game back in the late '90s, early 2000s. But I think his time has passed. But this is still an incredible record, and congrats to him. Matt, anything else you want to add here?
Just what Christian was saying. I think Arsenal's team is still like very good. And they still have world-class players, still bring in world-class players like this summer with Lacazette. I don't think he's not spending money. I think he's the one not spending money. I think Arsenal has the money, but he just chooses to spend it here and there instead of, buying 5 players at a time.
I actually read an interesting article about this. Maybe we'll tweet it out. But this guy, Bobby McMahon, who is a pundit and I don't know what exactly. I know he's been in the soccer world for a while, but he wrote an article for Forbes comparing Liverpool and Arsenal's business strategies in the way that they go about trying to make money and spend their money on transfers and all of that. And so it was really fascinating because basically Liverpool prioritizes transfers, whereas Arsenal prioritizes more their other pieces of their business. And it's kind of resulted in Liverpool overtaking them from a business standpoint, whereas Arsenal had a lot of things going for them, but they haven't committed as much to transfers, and it seems like it actually is a business strategy rather than it is Arsenal or Arsen not wanting to spend that money. So, but we'll tweet it out, and you can judge for yourself. Christian, anything else you wanted to add on this topic?
Nope.
Okay, cool. A little bit more music for you listeners, and we'll be right back with our third segment. Stick with us. All right, I know you got to get going, Christian, so let's try to churn through this quickly. Matt, you good to go?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, everyone, to our third and final segment. First topic here. Recently, Miguel Herrera, former manager of the Mexican national team, now he's managing, I believe, somewhere in Liga MX. They churn through coaches quickly, so he may not be managing. I don't know. But he came out and said that MLS's schedule hurts World Cup preparations for any players that are playing in the league. Christian, what do you think about Herrera's take on MLS scheduling? And do you think it actually does hurt players' chances at the World Cup? Or performance?
This is a tough one because all the other teams have just gone through a whole season at this point, and they're kind of worn out by that time. And yeah, they have a couple weeks off before the World Cup, but they really are exhausted. You could see it at the end of the season in a lot of those teams. In MLS, you're in the mid-season, so technically you're mid-season form and you should be at the top of your game. And yeah, I don't understand why MLS does their scheduling different than all the other leagues of the earth. But
there's plenty of reasons, and that's not true.
It's annoying, but
it is annoying. But the Scandinavian countries follow our same schedule, and lots of places that have to deal with weather follow. But continue.
Okay. I still think that they should catch up to this scheduling with all the other European leagues, but it doesn't matter. I think that he has a point that maybe – actually, I don't agree. Yeah, no, I just don't agree. I think that they are mid-season form, and they should be at the best at that point. And it's going to be interesting to see how I don't know how many Mexican players are really in the league. I don't know if it's many.
Well, Carlos Vela is coming back.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And I don't really agree with him there. And I saw Chicharito is targeting making the World Cup final earlier today, and I laughed a little bit at my desk.
Whatever, shoot for the stars. I mean, anything can happen. Matt, what do you think about Herrera's thoughts on the MLS schedule?
Yeah, I think it does agree because, most of the other players that are going to the World Cup are on another schedule. And the fact that, I guess the MLS schedule probably links up like the U.S. and Mexican national teams and like the makeup of the players. So, the States don't necessarily do too well in the World Cup compared to the other countries. So I would say it's not like we've proven that our schedule works World Cup wise. I don't think you could say either way.
Yeah, but it's not the schedule why we don't compete.
Hey, it could be.
It could
Have
be.
you ever seen us the other way? We haven't
Can't
tried
argue
that.
that. Can't
Yeah,
argue that.
but like I was just thinking, like I think I'm always in the best shape after the like a season, like then in the middle of it, like after like I haven't played sports in a while, but yeah, so like I can't remember what it was like, but like I feel like the Champions League, but the Champions League's at the end of the year, which is the biggest game. And why wouldn't you just keep that going for a month for the World Cup?
Yeah, but just
I feel
because
like I'm in better shape.
yeah, but just
No,
because
but like
all right, continue.
I don't know. You think you're
Just because of the
better in the middle of the season?
Yeah, because you're fresher. So at the end of the season, just because the Champions League's at the end of the season doesn't mean that's the highest quality that those players have been playing under, right? They've
Yeah,
gone
but
through
I feel like the
40,
more you
50
play,
matches.
the more you kick like every week, the more you practice every week, you're gonna get better week after week after week. You might be a little bit. I guess your body. I mean, I'm not
Matt's still 21 years
upper
old.
20.
People, he doesn't get it.
Yeah, and he can run a 520 mile right now, even
No, he
though
can
he
run a
hasn't.
440 mile.
I would run it. I
He,
will run a 5:20 mile right now
you
after
will
not
not.
running.
You haven't run a mile since high school. You told me that.
I could run. I could
Okay,
run a
all right,
5:20 mile right now.
but so I agree with Christian. I don't agree with Matt. I agree with Christian that the schedule it favors players who are playing in MLS because they're fresh. They've been playing for a few months, so their cardio and their body is in shape to play soccer over a lengthy time. But they're not worn out after a long European season. And the World Cup is pretty grueling, especially if you make it to the latter stages. There's a lot of matches in a short, condensed time. The fresher you can be for that, the better. So I don't agree with Herrera here. Christian, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Matt, do you have anything else you want to add?
I'm running that 5:20 mile, and I'm gonna make Audrey record it, and we're gonna send it to you.
Okay, I will wait with bated breath.
Right, she's gonna manipulate the shit out of that video.
let's talk about something else going on in American soccer. And so recently, Kevin Kincaid, former Union beat writer, now he writes more for other sports, but he's been a longtime soccer writer, came out with an article saying basically that promotion and relegation isn't a necessity in American soccer. He argued for a lot of different things, mainly that soccer is still too new as a professional sport and destabilizing it would not be great. He also argued that owners that now that soccer is popular want to get in and have their teams promoted are kind of not cheating, but they're not paying respect to the people that have put in the time to create what soccer is in America today. Matt, what do you think about promotion and relegation in American soccer? Maybe specifically some of the things that Kevin brought up in his piece. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to really accurately say what's the best situation until we've seen both. I mean, the promotion relegation, I know it's just completely different in how we already have our system set up and how it's, I guess worked for this long. So it's just so hard to say that, like, even if we switched over, how the money's going to change, how everything's going to change, like saying that's better or worse, like you would have to see it first.
Fair enough. And to be honest, I feel the exact same way. The way that soccer is set up in this country, it's set up that anyone can create a league if you meet the requirements. And so nothing is stopping anybody from creating a full pyramid, top to bottom with promotion and relegation. It's just people have seen that MLS has been successful and they want into MLS. And so they just want to force MLS to have promotion and relegation. That's what frustrates the heck out of me. And that's why I'm so excited for Peter Wilt's NISA League that we talked about on last week's podcast to see that they're coming in. We're saying we're doing promotion and relegation right from the start. We're starting with the third and fourth division, and then we're trying to build up and down. So that's why I'm really excited about all of that. Christian, what were your thoughts on Kincaid's article?
I don't agree that it's cheating. I think that they're kind of finding ways around the system, which doesn't mean cheating.
Very true. Cheating wasn't the right word. I couldn't think of the proper word, but they are sort of circumventing, the system.
Yeah, they haven't put in all the time and effort that a lot of the MLS clubs have put in. So I understand what he's saying there, and I don't think that I agree. They don't respect all the time and effort that's gone into MLS. I think a lot of those owners are getting respect, and people are really excited about the league, and that's why they want to get in. I don't think it has anything to do with a lack of respect.
But snapping their fingers and saying we want into the league, and because the rest of the world does promotion and relegation, this is the way that it should be, I don't think is right or fair.
Yeah, but I agree that promotion and relegation has been successful pretty much everywhere it is.
Yeah, but
so it's hard to say that it won't be here, and I know we're always going to argue this, and we're never going to know, really. I don't think we're ever going to get it, so it won't matter.
I think we will.
Or if we do, it's going to be way down the road. But still, I think that it has been successful everywhere, and to ignore it is annoying.
Yeah, but it's been successful everywhere for a lot of different reasons, and I'm literally reading books on this right now. But it's the reason, the argument
You're
that
so studious.
The argument that it's been successful everywhere else, so it should work here, is just wrong. Like, it's just wrong. It's just flat out wrong. It's not to say that it can't work here, but that argument just falls flat on its face. So I'm excited to see what happens with Peter Wilt's league. Christian, I know you are trying to get out of here, so let's talk about our last topic real quick. Best moments of 2017. It is now officially 2018. I apologize for not wishing everyone a happy 2018 at the beginning of this podcast, but hopefully it's going well for you. Goal.com had a recent article stating the best moments of 2017. Christian, what was your thoughts on some of the best moments of 2017?
Yeah, this is interesting question. There were a lot of big points. I could go with some positives and some negatives here. So I could tell you the most heartbreaking one, which I think everyone will agree with me here.
Well, American soccer fans will.
Yes. It was rough. That was rough. I still am still trying to get through it. But when I was reading some of the things that have happened in the soccer world, I got to say number one is the Chapeauneuf player coming back and playing. That was an amazing story, that he survived the plane crash and was able to play again. And nothing else really competes with that in my mind.
Fair enough. Matt, your thoughts on some of the best things from 2017 in the soccer world?
I think the most important thing from 2017 was the Neymar transfer. I think it's just going to change transfers forever. I mean, Pogba before, that was crazy, and then this just blew everything out of the water. So I think this is just, everything's going to change from that.
Absolutely, and we're already seeing the ramifications of that with Van Dijk, moving for 75 million pounds, $100 million, and now, Coutinho apparently not moving for anything less than 150 million. I think it was euros I saw or read today. So yeah, I think I can agree with that. And I also just want to shout out Iceland, their qualification for the World Cup. That's incredible. The fact that they qualified for the expanded Euros was a miracle in and of itself. But then to carry that momentum and actually qualify for the World Cup is incredible. So that was another thing. Just wanted to call out. Christian, anything else you wanted to mention about this or any of the other topics?
I also loved Dirk Kuyt winning his side the title on this final game for Feyenoord. That was amazing too, as a former Liverpool player, to watch him do that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely legendary.
Agreed. Matt, anything else you wanted to mention in this topic or any others?
No. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Real quick, I just wanted to mention, we'll tweet out the video. Ozil is incredibly talented, and he had a ridiculous thing where he made Danny Welbeck off the advertising boards when they were warming up. So he's incredible. We will tweet that out. Christian, do you want to recap our trivia question, and we will give our answers?
Yeah, trivia question. So I'll tell you, 97 different nations have been represented by goal scorers in the Barclays Premier League. How about that? That's a lot. So can you name the top country goals? I don't know how to phrase this.
Yeah. Top scoring country.
Top scoring country from each continent.
From each continent. Okay. League. Do you want me to go first, Matt, or do you want to go first?
I can
go. Alternate.
All right, so I'll go Europe, France.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
I'll go Europe, France too.
Okay, America, North America, USA. South America. I don't even remember any Brazil. I'm gonna go. I don't know any South Americans in the Premier League. I guess I'll just say Brazil. Asia, I'll go with Japan. Australia.
I'll give you that one.
Okay. And Africa, I'll do Nigeria.
Okay. I'll do Mexico for North America, Argentina, South America. I already said France and Europe. I will go Ivory Coast in Africa, South Korea for Asia, and then Australia.
All right. Good guesses, guys. You got a couple of them.
Okay.
So Nigeria was correct.
Oh.
Argentina is correct for South America. With 420, Nigeria is 471. I'll put them out there. France is correct with 1477. For which ones haven't I done?
Australia.
North America.
Australia is correct with 264. Yeah.
North America and Asia.
North America is a surprise here. Jamaica with 270.
Oh, that is a sneaky one.
Yeah. And sorry, what was the last one? Asia?
Yeah.
Asia.
Sorry, I have to find it again. I lost it. Asia is Turkey with 75.
Oh, Turkey counts as Asia?
It does. Turkey, Israel, and then South Korea. So those are all on there.
What? I'm counting South Korea. Turkey and Israel play in UEFA.
They are technically Asian countries.
I'm counting South Korea. Put it on the board. Championship. All right, listeners, thank you for listening. This week, we will tweet out all of the stories that we discussed on this episode from our Twitter handle, which is @BTSoccerPod. You can also find them in the links underneath this podcast in the show notes. If you want to get in contact with us, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Check out the YouTube channel. You can watch us live and interact with us. Also watch all of our old recordings there. You just search Fan Futsal on YouTube. And everything was brought to you by Fan Futsal. Christian and Matt, thank you both for being here. Listeners, thank you. Have a happy 2018, and we will talk to you next week. See you, everyone.
Happy New Year.
All right, cool. All right, see you guys. Christian, good luck in your IM game.
Sure. Yep. Thanks.
All right, bye. All right, listeners and viewers on YouTube, thanks for watching. We will see you, Matt. See you. That's a